Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, still in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and still gauging the fallout from last night's big debate. Some indications that some are confused not only as to who won, but who has the most mojo. And apparently, according to Charles Koch, the billionaire conservative, he can't agree on anyone. He's indicating today that he is unlikely, repeat, unlikely to back a candidate in the crowded Republican presidential primary. USA Today reporting that he will withhold support at least during this early primary season, which could mean that candidates who were vying for that support just are not going to get it just yet. So the pressure is on who gets that support if and when it comes to getting that support, as others are circling the wagons around the likes of Sheldon Adelson and some other big money backers. Remember, those who do well in a debate generally, not all the time, generally get some donor interest. What's going on here? Let's go to Mica Mosbacher. She's a big fundraiser for Ted Cruz, and Pat Caddell, the former Democratic pollster who brought us Jimmy Carter. Welcome, both of you, and I'm very, very glad to have you. Mica, obviously, Senator Cruz has been your candidate from the get-go. He had a very good night last night. He's got very good momentum going. Are you surprised that someone like a Charles Koch has said, I'm not quite ready?
No, I'm not surprised at all. He's keeping his powder dry. As far as I'm concerned right now, we're not relying on our PACs. We have a war chest, and we're so frugal with our money. We're very tight. We use fans instead of air conditioning in the summer in the campaign offices. So we're not burning through cash.
Well, that's an important distinction. I apologize for the mic here. You know, when you just do everything with lobs and all, you just get crazy. But one of the things I heard was that Scott Walker's problem was, even though he raised a lot of cash, he's very big staff. You're using very well within the Cruz organization. How are the expenses? How lean and mean is that organization?
We're so lean and mean that our equivalent of a Trump airplane is Southwest Airlines.
Okay, gotcha. I was going to do the how lean and mean are you? All right.
That's pretty lean.
That's pretty lean. Pat, now,
cheap.
Pat, let me get a gauge from you then. What's at stake here? I'm going to put this down here because a little confusing. Do you get a sense that if a Charles Koch is saying, I'm not ready, that it's open season for their money, that in other words, no final decisions have been made?
I think that's what a lot of donors are going to do now. I mean, I think some donors have already felt they've been burned in campaigns that already fell apart. I think the expectations were not for this kind of confusion and chaos. And I think that, if I were a big donor, I'd wait till, the beginning of the year, New Hampshire, whatever, and begin to see what happens. You may have a lot more influence in closing the race than getting it going.
I could read into it that if you're Jeb Bush, you can breathe a sigh of relief, right? I mean, if you were looking at money or donors would start wandering, they're not wandering.
Well, this was a holding action last night for him. And I guess the first thing he did when he got off the stage was go to a donor phone call, and another one this morning, trying to hold his donors who are very, very nervous, and he'll hold them for a while. But by December, I think we're going to see some winnowing out of this field.
All right, you hope. I mean, people are waiting for that. The winnowing part is that Ted Cruz wins out in that winnowing process, or at least ends up in the top tier. What do you think?
Yes, I think he and Rubio may be the two last men standing. Phenomenon. He certainly has a likability factor. I joke that I worry that if he is president, we'll jump and blaze on Air Force One. He's a good man, but coming back to Cruz,
He's still the most popular.
yeah.
Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. He has a strong likability factor, but he also has a name identity.
But he got booed a couple of times last night.
Well, yes, he had a good point because the candidates were interrupting each other, and it was a debate that had decorum, and it was benefiting a presidential election cycle.
Could I get your, as a woman, without being sexist here, a lot of women made a big stink of the fact that he criticized Carly Fiorina for interrupting.
A lot of it is just showbiz, and he says things without a filter for effect. I know him personally, and I happen to like him, so I find it very difficult to criticize. Cruz last night had a great breakout moment with Kasich over the banking bailouts. I thought maybe I wouldn't put my money in Bank of America. kidding aside, to your point, kidding aside, Cruz's message is that we really need to be very frugal with our resources as big banks.
So they have to hang on to their money?
They have to hang on their money because
Okay.
it's going to be a tough haul here.
All
And
right.
we're going to go a long, long way.
We will go a long, long way. We have a lot more coming up here, including who, if it's the big guys who are not endorsing just yet, the big financial guys. What about the big influential political guys, like the governor of this fine state, the man who used to be the front runner in this race? Who does Scott Walker lean to, talk to, at least try to appear in videos after this?